Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island. To Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island Family Theme Park Cleethorpes. Don't you wish you were here?
It's the 28th of March 1986, and Cleethorpes has been looking for a tourism boost for numerous years, holding out hopes for a major new attraction. Many proposals will be made over the next 3 years, however, nothing came into fruition. This whole time, the former site of the Cleethorpes Zoo had been a main focus of the resort's rejuvenation, the site already having a troubled and lengthy history, passing through numerous owners and being home to many attractions such as a zoo, a small leisure park and a stock car racing stadium. However, a lifeline would emerge. This being Pleasureworld, a division of the RKF Entertainment Group who developed a theme park in Lowestoft called Pleasurewood Hills. After its success, the company was looking to expand and build a sister park to their original project. In September of 1989, the development would be announced by the local press, with an article showing what the original Pleasurewood Hills park had to offer. This would result in Pleasurewood Hills Cleethorpes, with construction beginning shortly after. Among all of the hustle and bustle on the construction site, local residents of Cleethorpes and Grimsby would watch and read all about the project, with articles being printed about its development almost weekly. Images from inside the under construction site would begin to be shared as the foundations and structures that would later become the park's shows, eateries and rides would be erected. Around this time, Sparks Creative Services would begin designing the themed elements, with a model being produced of the proposed Main Street area, which would later be presented to the Cleethorpes Borough Council. The proposed attraction consisted of a large Main Street area, which was home to a restaurant, arcade, bandstand and theatre. The proposal also included shows such as parrot and sea lion shows, and rides such as a runaway mine train, log flume, a Huss Enterprise, a Vekoma corkscrew roller coaster, pirate ship, chairlift, railway and electric motorbikes. A marketing campaign with a Woody Bear mascot suit being used around Cleethorpes on numerous occasions would also be in full swing at this time, whilst construction continued into 1991. However, behind the scenes, the RKF Group were facing major financial issues, which had led to various cutbacks with things to be included in the final theme park's lineup. This would lead to the shock announcement of the group's bankruptcy. Things would remain up in the air for a few months until receivers would advertise the half-completed site in issues of the World's Fair magazine. £2 million had been spent, which was not expected to be fully recuperated from the sale. Multiple possible takeovers would be discussed over the next few months, most notably a takeover to develop the site into a Hanna-Barbera theme park, featuring their well-known characters. However, information about this period is extremely sparse, other than some supposed concept artworks being produced of the whole site. It would later be revealed that the main party interest in redeveloping the site would be Robert Gibb, who had previously developed the Flamingo Lands theme park and zoo in North Yorkshire. This takeover wasn't smooth sailing, however, taking numerous months to be finalised, along with even more controversy when the local council would sell the neighbouring caravan site to rivals Bourne Leisure in October of 1991, which had been a major backbone to the original proposal, quoted to rival Euro Disney. This would result in yet more changes being made to the proposed plans. However, Flamingo Land would continue forwards with their aims to redevelop the half-built theme park. August of that same year would see the final takeover of the site on the 7th, along with a proposal being put forward to councillors and local residents. The plans were an instant hit, with a focus being made on live entertainment such as a circus, animal performance shows accompanied by white-knuckle thrill rides. These plans would form the basis for Pleasure Island, a brand new theme park for Cleethorpes, which aimed to rejuvenate the area's tourism trade, which had been in steady decline for some time. The park would follow a seaside/island theme, taking visitors through a traditional English town called Old England, then a Spanish harbour town, a Moroccan market-themed area and an African trading post. These themed areas were developed around the existing buildings and layout from the half-completed Pleasureworld site. Designed by Imagination Studios, led by Mark Seddon, who along with his team would design the park's layout, attractions and themed areas. The Old England area would consist of recreations of a traditional English town's buildings, constructed out of stone, large timber frames accompanied by multi-panelled windows. The area would be home to a flying chairs attraction, a large indoor funfair themed area in which the park's 1904 carousel would be housed, accompanied by some stalls and an animatronic show named the Rockfire Explosion, which had been imported from Florida. The The Spanish area of the park, based on traditional Spanish harbour towns, would be home to possibly the park's most beloved attraction, the Tinkerboo Factory ride, which followed the Tinkerboo family through their sweet factory, producing sweets for the visitors of Pleasure Island. Spain was also home to the park's food court, containing a children's drop slide, a small arcade, and 5 different food outlets, along with a gift shop, parrot show, and cycle monorail, which would take riders through the Spanish and Moroccan themed areas of the park. The next area guests could enter was Morocco, themed around a Moroccan market, which hosted arcades, various food outlets, game stalls, a flying carpet ride called the 1001 Nights, an inverting ship ride called the Dreamboat, circus, mini and adult-sized dodgems, magical water theatre show which had previously been located at Alton Towers, a sea lion show, a large Ferris wheel called the Big Wheel, Astroslide, TriStar and the Gravitron. The park would also be home to White Knuckle Valley, which housed its more thrilling attractions, most notably being the Boomerang and Four-Man Bob, which again had previously been operated at Flamingo Land and Alton Towers. Along the small children's orientated area, aptly named Kiddy's Kingdom, home to various small juvenile rides and a large electric monorail which had been relocated from Europa Park in 1989. Other attractions such as the Paratrooper quad bikes, just to name a few. A train built by Seven Lamb called Annabelle would also traverse through these areas. The final area of the park was Africa, themed to recreate an African trading post, which was home to the park's other roller coasters, the Mini Mine Train, a Cine 2000 which had also been relocated from Alton Towers, and the Jungle Ride, which would take riders along a track in Jeep-themed cars. The ride was also surrounded by play structure which ran above the track system. After months of concept development, artist impressions and blueprints being drawn, slowly each section of the half-completed site would be transformed into the new theme park. The local press continued to cover the site's development regularly, showing locals the first glimpses of what was to come. The erection of the park's biggest ride, this being the Boomerang, and later its first riders, members of the Cleethorpes Borough Council. Photographs of Neil Island, the park's newly announced general manager, sat on the recently delivered Dreamboat ride. The construction of the buildings, facades and theming, along with artworks and props being delivered for the Tinkerboo Factory ride. Its opening was fast approaching, with the final date set to be the 27th of May 1993.
The worst thing, right, facing that way, and you've got a cage just in front of you. When you're sitting forwards, that's the worst bit you go. Hey, should we go around again?
Nah. Hey! You alright, mate?
Get me up there.
the gates would finally be opened to hundreds of local children and families after years of misfortune and delays holding back its opening. However, this wasn't the end of the project's troubles. Many of the first to experience the park couldn't help but be slightly disappointed. You may find this a little odd. However, the park had opened half completed, with pathways half complete, numerous large attractions being closed, and half the park still looking like a construction site. One family who joined in the festivities for the park's opening shared their experience of the day, this being the McCormick family, who are quoted to have said, "The boomerang was out, bobsleigh was out, the monorail and a couple of rides in the Kiddies Kingdom were out. Only 3 main rides were running. The conditions underfoot were terrible. They even had a JCB running around." All of this, combined with adverse weather conditions for most of the day, made the opening of Pleasure Island little more than a disaster. However, a short time after, the first day of operation, the construction team, ride operators, mechanics and management had gotten the park into completion. Visitors, once quoted as saying, "It's not a pleasure," had now changed their views, simply opting to say, "Now it's a pleasure."